Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the IVCC Theater Department's um, Living Room Stage Live event. We've been doing these for quite a while now. We've had some terrific um, guests on the show, and tonight we have a very special guest. But first of all, let me get some housekeeping out of the way here. Don't forget, all of our videos that we've done so far are available to watch online here. They're all here in our archive on IVCC Fine Arts. And by the way, another great way to follow us is on Instagram, also IVCC Fine Arts. So make sure you follow us there as well. And you can always share these videos if you don't have friends who are members of the group. Why not? But if you have friends who aren't members of this group, you can share them to your page after they have been broadcast. A couple things about this fall at IVCC. We're online, except for small classes. They have to be one instructor and 9 students or less due to the social distancing. So I will be teaching a directing class again. We're looking at an acting class, a choreography class, and obviously space is limited. If you want information on that, you need to contact me. Here in our group description, my contact information is there. So just drop me an email and I can tell you about it. It's under Theater Playhouse Production. Would love to have you. But again, space is very limited. A couple weeks ago, I talked with Kristen and Kathy. Kristen from Stage 212, Kathy from Angle Lane, and we talked about the future of local theater and what was on the docket. And as you know, Angle Lane put their entire this year's season into 2021. 212 is kind of shuffling theirs, looks like much of the same thing. And I did not know the answer whether Festival 56 had made the same decision. I have since found out that they indeed have decided to take their 2020 season and place it in 2021. So if you've been following the local theater, that's what's happening with them too. If you have another local theater around and I haven't mentioned you, please contact me and I'll be happy to incorporate them. All right, without further ado, I met our next guest. Oh, I'll have to ask him what year it was. I'm going to guess 80, early 80. I don't know. He'll remember. He, much like our guest last week, Alice Scott, remembers a lot more than I do. Anyway, this guy's been all over the place. So many of you tuned in to watch him tonight. We even had requests to have him on the show. So without further ado, I'd like you to welcome, coming to us from New York, it's Frank Vlastnik. Frank, want to turn your camera on? You there? And hey.
My lighting is so bad. Hi, wait.
Hi. Lighting is everything.
Here we go. 1979, Don.
Oh my God, 79. So I was 5.
I was 14. And you were the first. You were the first professional director I ever worked with.
Really?
You cast me in Mame.
Okay.
Caskia. And I got to work with the fabulous Jeannie Welgott, who played Mame, and I was young Patrick, and oh, well, I guess there's a photo.
Look, thanks for that. Yeah, Jeannie Welgott. I think she was probably.
Oh my God, that's my old nose.
Yeah, it is. And Jeannie, she was the most sophisticated.
Fun. She was fabulous.
She was a perfect Mame.
Oh, she was brilliant.
Yes, and that was at the Cascast, and that was back in the Nomad days of Stage 212.
Yeah, well, I think you started upstairs, right, in the penthouse.
Yeah, the Sky Room, I think they called it. Yeah.
Also called a fire trap.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? Last week
there was an elevator but no stairs. Yeah.
I know. Well, you could jump off.
Lord.
I got to watch what I say about that stuff because last week Alice Scott was on with me, and she's our theater historian, and we were showing pictures of the Valley Theater where IVCC first did their shows, and we did a show there. That's where we met, and we both called it. We were like, that was a fire trap. It was a fire trap. Just this week, there was a fire in it. So I said, they're gonna think we're witches, and we predicted it. But
How are you, DGZ?
I'm good. I'm good. How about you?
We're hanging tough in New York.
Yeah.
I actually went and had dinner last night at a on the sidewalk. It was delicious.
Outdoor cafe, right?
Outdoor cafe, yeah.
Well, what'd you have? What'd you have?
Chicken. What are they called? Gyros. Chicken gyros. Oh. They were fantastic. Right off the grill. Caramel and strawberry martinis, but we won't talk about that.
We have sidewalk. We have al fresco dining here too. Everywhere there is no other way to eat except al fresco.
Yeah, I think I knew him. He was from Spring Valley, wasn't he?
I think so. I think so. Did shows, didn't he? I'm not
he
sure.
Did. How are you, buddy? 1979 and then 1981, I came back to 212 and did The Music Man.
As did I.
You were our Harold Hill. You were our Music Man. And oh my God.
Now that's your old nose and my old nose.
Yes. And between us is my best friend for the last, literally you meet someone freshman year of high school and alone, who lives up in Minneapolis as well on the far left.
Okay.
And we had Cindy Myers as the mayor's wife.
Yeah. Eulalie.
And the fabulous Deb Torrey as mayor.
Yep. And you know what? I have had the pleasure of working with Deb. Of course, I left the area for decades, and I came back, and I've been at IVCC. And last year we did Mamma Mia, and Deb played.
Believe me, I saw photos. I did Mamma Mia about 3 years ago, and it was as much fun as it is to be in it.
Yeah.
The audience goes bananas. I played Harry the Homo. And I got to sing actually the nicest ballad in that last summer. And we stopped the show every night. And then I have to tell you, we were on Long Island, doing it on Long Island. There were 5 sisters, 5 Italian sisters between the ages of 56 and 66.
Okay, you're freezing up every so often, but
am I? Oh, I'm sorry.
5 sisters between 50 something.
5 see us 12 times, and the final performance they sat in the front row, and the youngest sister, who was unmarried, tried to climb into the orchestra pit. Am I freezing up still?
Oh, on and off. I'm checking comments right now. There's a lot. Go ahead.
Okay. She tried to climb into the orchestra pit to marry the guitar player.
Did she propose?
She did. It's the most fun show, Mamma Mia, to do.
It is. It really is.
And even better, the audience loves it.
I know. I've never seen a show quite. Maybe Jersey Boys, but Mamma Mia is a little, I don't know, maybe even a little more approachable because everybody knows those songs, and it's not.
And I think in a weird way, Mystery of Edmund Drood, which is audience participation, is also
I love that show.
So much fun. So much fun for the audience.
Yep.
With
I love Drood. Difficult show.
Yeah. It is. It's not easy because you have to learn 12 different parts. Because if you're the murderer or you're the lover, you got to learn her. So I'm trying to think about and then we did Something's Afoot. Am I going out?
Are we going? No, you're fine. We're going back
Okay.
in time again.
Then,
Okay.
yeah, to high
Okay.
school, and then I did
Okay.
Something's Afoot with You, and
Oh,
Deb
okay.
Torrey.
Right.
Debbie Torrey and Cindy Myers come to New York with their husbands, and we have the best time ever. They are loveliest. We go to Joe Allen, which is my favorite restaurant, and we laugh and we have cocktails and we talk about the old days. We talk about the new days. We talk about the shows they've just seen. They're just, I mean, those are my great memories from the Illinois Valley. Is working with you and them and Sarah and everyone else.
Yeah. It's like back. I always tell the kids that are in the shows, like at IVCC, we do have a lot of adults in the show because we have our community members that come out and play age appropriate, people, and they're phenomenal. I feel like I get the best of the best. But I always tell it, when you do a show when you're young, it's like, oh, we're going to be best friends forever. We're going to stay in touch. We'll never, not realizing that lives go all sorts of different directions. Now, because now with email and social media, now you can stay in touch with people. But
You
back
can,
then,
and you do, and we do.
Yeah.
And I think did Mark Nowakowski play here on Mamma Mia? Or was it Ron McCutcheon? Yeah.
Both. Ron played, Mark was Harry the Homo.
Harry. Harry the Homo, although he's not.
Right. I was Sam.
I've known Mark Nowakowski since we were in the Sandbox together, and I love him. He's such a great guy and a great singer. Yeah. And I mean, truly, and Ron McCutcheon I've known since we were in The Boyfriend together at 212.
Wow. That was after my time. Yeah, true. All three dads. And at least one of them.
And at least one of the moms.
Yeah. Debbie. It was a terrific cast. We had so much fun.
Better costumes than the. Sorry, I shouldn't say this out loud. Better costumes than the version I did. You had real disco costumes.
We did. They were so comfortable.
Yeah.
And cool.
Well, here's the weird thing: is with an equity company, if you recreate anything close to the Broadway costumes, you have to pay.
Yeah.
And so I wore like a gold lame shirt. I mean, we could not have the silver. We could not have the jumpsuits. It was just not. It was not as festive as you had.
Oh well, it was a colorful show. I will say. Here, I'll give you a little sideline. My daughter, who's a very gifted choreographer and director, in her own right, lives in Peoria, and she was like 8 months pregnant when I was doing mine, and she came up and helped choreograph.
Are you a grandpa now?
I am.
My Lord.
Can you believe it? I know. It doesn't seem real, but I am. Actually, today was our grandson's first birthday party.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. I've been in Peoria all day. But she was scheduled to direct and choreograph Mamma Mia at a theater down in Peoria.
Sure.
And so, I had just finished our run and we went out on a big high. And she just like a couple months later, and my costume was a blue jumpsuit with these sequins that just had a mind of their own that blew off all the time. And you could see everything, if you know what I mean. So I always kept trying to put the belt lower and lower. And on closing night, I said, I am so glad I can say goodbye to that costume. And we rented it. I rented it from Peoria Players down in Peoria.
I've said goodbye to many costumes. The worst costume I ever had was my first Broadway show, where I was the dancing bear at FAO Schwartz in Bill.
That's
all bear costume, and I had to get into it and do hip hop dancing, and it was humiliating and horrible, and I hated it. I didn't send you the video of that. Oh, that would have been really embarrassing.
Well, your face was covered, right?
Oh, I couldn't breathe. And then they gave me little fans in the eye holes, and I was dancing because it was an actual costume that people wore
Right.
at FEO Schwartz to greet the shoppers. And I said, but I'm dancing and then have to go and jump and I'm like, these are gonna like pluck my eyes out like grapes. It was horrible. They didn't care.
Well, I was telling you about my daughter directing Mamma Mia. So she called me like a couple months after ours closed, and she goes, "Dad, I need a favor." You know, you never say no. And I said, "Okay, what do you need?" And she said, "I need a Sam down here in Peoria to play in Mamma Mia," because that's what she was directing.
Oh yeah, and that's what you did up there.
So yeah, and I had just finished it. So it's like, well, I'll know the lines, you know. So I went down. The costumes come in. Guess what costume place they rented the costumes?
The same one.
Same one. And I looked at that thing and I said, "Oh, it's that
with the blue
sausage." Yeah.
Of course.
Well, of course. Let's talk about you. Now, enough about me. What do you think about me?
So I don't know. So I went to Illinois Wesleyan, and then I moved to New York right after college.
Right. He froze.
Working for a casting director of Cats and Les Mis. Am I freezing?
No, you're fine.
Cats and Les Mis and Phantom. And then I moved to LA. I went to LA on basically vacation and ended up getting a TV pilot and stayed for 4 years and never worked again. Oh, the TV pilot was called The Adventures of Briscoe County Jr. It was a Western spoof. And they kept saying, "Oh, we're going to bring you back. We're going to bring you back." And then the show got canceled, and I stayed for 4 years and became a school teacher. And then came back to New York on a vacation and as an audition reader. And the casting director that I had worked with said, after the second person read, you need to come back to New York. And I said, okay. And so I came back, and the second week I was back, I auditioned for the musical Big, and I got cast as the understudy to the lead.
Okay.
And it was a very interesting experience because we went, oh, do I need to wait? Big!
Yeah.
Big flop. It was a trial.
He's frozen again.
In January, and let me tell you, when you go to Detroit in January, it's quite so cold.
Yeah.
Because we were there stuck at the Fisher Theater, and we ended up replacing 6 weeks.
Okay.
7 songs in 6 weeks we replaced. They wrote 7 new songs in 6 weeks. Am I going out?
In and out, but we're getting it.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Malpine Shire, who wrote Baby and Starting Now, had to write basically a whole new score. And then we came back into New York, and we were at the Schubert for about 10 months and still never made a dime. And then I went and got a job in an office for, to anyone who wants to be in show business, you've got to get there I am. I'm in Big. That's me in the left corner with my glasses on.
Yep.
Yeah.
We should. Who
was our big number? Coffee. Daniel Jenkins played the lead, who was the lead in Big River, the sweetest guy in the world, and the healthiest guy in the world because he never got sick. So I never got to go on for him. I know.
You didn't do the whole showgirls thing and shove them down the stairs?
No, and I didn't do the Visine and the water bottle either. That's the other thing that people do.
Oh, yeah, that's
But
kind of
he's the
classic.
kindest man in the whole world.
Right.
And I ran into him recently, and we just had the best reunion. And
So was that your first Broadway cred? Was that your first
first
Broadway?
Broadway credit, I just turned 30, and
Okay.
my was my first real Broadway audition, and it was just crazy. It was just one of those flukes. It was the last day of auditions. I went in. They couldn't find anyone to understudy Dan. They wanted someone goofy and who could sing goofy and funny, dance well enough. And I got home that night, and I had a call on my answering service. Do you remember those?
Yeah.
It wasn't an answering machine. It was like you had to call in to a service and then put in your code. No. And they said, you got it. And I'm like, what? And then I had just moved into a new apartment, and I had to go to a payphone and call my mother and tell her. And then I didn't work for another 2 years, and I worked at the Time Life Photo Archive, and it was amazing experience. And then I got a call to audition for Sweet Smell of Success with John Lithgow, and it was just another one of those flukes that just happened. And Sweet Smell of Success, there it is.
Yeah.
And we tried out in Chicago, and I got to see so many friends from high school and from 212 and that. And I understudied Brian Darcy James, who is there I am. There's Brian, and there's me. And I just had a Zoom conference with like 4 of these guys the last weekend. It was truly the most amazing. Even though we weren't a hit, we were the closest to work with. Oh, there I'm with Brian. Yeah, and and Lithgow is everyone's. Oh, I'm with Lithgow. He's like everyone's dad, and he like emails us and says, I'm in LA. And he's just the sweetest guy in the world. I mean, truly. He's like a star, but he's just like a regular. As my Uncle Bill, who still works in Classics Menswear 6 days a week, he's as common as a pin.
I have not heard
is just the most down to earth person I've ever met.
And, I meant to mention this before we went on the air here. Frank was telling me his uncle, 90.
My dad, they were identical twins. If my dad was alive, he'd be 90.
Wow.
And Uncle Bill just turned 90.
And he still works at the store
6 days a week.
Wow.
Yeah, crazy. Oh. And then I did a musical called A Year with Frog and Toad.
Okay.
Which is based on the children's books by Arnold Lobel. And I did it in Minneapolis. And we came into New York, and we were the little musical that could, because we went off Broadway and then we went on Broadway, and we got nominated for 3 Tony Awards. And I was the snail. And I think there's a little video. Oh, there's the opening night. That's Jen Gambatee's in the middle, who's going to play the wife, the Sally Field role in Mrs. Doubtfire when it reopens finally. All this. And that's Danielle Furland next to her, the blonde. She was the original Little Red Riding Hood in Into the Woods. And that's Marklyn Baker on the far right. Marklyn Baker was the star of Perfect Strangers with what's his name? Cousin Larry and Balky. And we did that show for 2 years on and off. And it was just 5 people changing costumes all the time. And I think there's a little video, maybe if Chad can pull it up, of my number.
It'll take him just a second there. you must have gotten very close to a cast of 5.
Oh,
A small cast.
well, Jay Getty, who played the Frog, and Mark and I shared a dressing room for a year and a half, and
Yeah.
like we threw things at each other. We loved each other so much.
Right.
Like,
of course, you got to do that.
This is my big number. So I played.
Okay.
I was always timid. I guess it was because I may have been ashamed of who I am or what I was. I thought, I'm just a snail, a lot of shell, a little goo. But all of that has changed as now the following is true. I got something I do, something I'm proud of, because I do it pretty well. Bing, bang, boom, give me some room. I'm coming out of my shell. Get out the word, find me a witness. Blow on a trumpet, ring a bell. Holy smokes, look at me, folks. I'm coming out of my shell. There were slugs who doubted me. I guess that made me nervous. I never even dared to dream of life in civil service. They said I wasn't fast enough. They said, hey, you're too gooey. But then I turned around and told them phooey. That's all hooey. I was nothing but goo under the surface. Then everything began to gel. Holy cow, look at me now. I'm coming out of my, yes, I deliver. I'm coming out of my, I'm going postal. I'm coming out of my shell.
And the crowd goes wild.
You need to know that I played a snail who was a mailman, and then the payoff of that number was that I put on postal hat and I'm working for the U.S. Postal Service, which is in dire need. So please buy it, everyone. No, seriously. I mean, so I know it was just it was. And they wrote that song to cover a set change. Well, that song was not in the show originally, and they needed to have 2 minutes, the Christmas section. And whenever we did the show during readings, they kept saying, we want to see the snail again. You need 2 minutes to do get up the Christmas tree. And so they wrote this little ditty called I'm Coming Out of My Shell. And it was truly like the greatest gift I could ever have. And now I see college seniors who say, oh, I did my, what do you call it? When you're a senior, you do a showcase in New York. And I sang I'm Coming Out of My Shell. And I'm like, what, really? And they're like, yeah, because it's so short, it's perfect. And I got an agent. And I'm like, well, can you give me my name? Because I was the original snake. No, I have a great agent. No worries.
Now on the word of Year with Frog and Toad, Cornstalk Theater in Peoria did that.
Oh, I know.
A couple years ago. You came
Nate
down.
Downs and oh God, yeah, Nate Downs. I went down and saw a dress rehearsal. And Nick and Nate, I love them.
Of course.
And my friend Bill Leese.
Yeah, I know Bill.
Who was in my class at LP, and we lost from a no. He had a heart problem and had terrible surgery. And but he was the production manager, I think, and I miss him every day. He was. I went. He invited me down. Cornstalk. Have you worked at Cornstalk?
I have. When I had my dinner theater in Peoria area, I had just come off of Music Man and something else, and I'm like, oh,
was it your fifth Harold Hill?
It was like my sixth Harold Hill, and then I thought, well, I can take 6 weeks off because we put in a Patsy, always Patsy Cline, or one of the Patsy shows.
That's the easy show to produce in the world.
Yeah, so I just said, okay, I'm not doing anything for 6 weeks. My good friend Mel White called me and he goes, I'm directing George M. at Cornstalk. I don't have a George M. I need somebody who can sing, dance, tap, and act for 2.5 hours without leaving the stage. And I said, oh, I don't really know anybody. And he said, no, I want you to do it. So,
well, of course, hello.
So I tap danced through hurricanes and storms and heat and everything else in the tent. That was my one and only foray into the tent, but it was a ball, huge cast. And
can I go back and talk about one thing from our past
that
was so important to me and to Sarah Shady, I know, is that we did a show at Hull High School called the Riverfront Follies. What was it called?
You're asking me? Oh, because they used to have the Spring Valley Music Festival or something like that.
Yeah.
And they used to, and they would bring me back to.
It was the summer after our senior year of high school, and Sarah and I were in it, and Deb Torrey was in it, and
Betty Ann Holloway was.
It was just the most fun. It was like the best Broadway review.
A big old review, yeah.
It was fantastic.
Now you've jogged many memory cells here. I did come back and direct those, like maybe
it was
3 years.
It was the perfect, because Sarah then went on to go to California and work at Disneyland and work with the on cruise ships, and it was the perfect springboard that year for us, because we were off into the great unknown and had the best time ever. And thank you for that. Thank you.
Oh, God, my pleasure. You know what I always say? I've learned so much more from bad directors than I have from good directors. And I know that, to make everybody feel like part of a family, and it's easy when you like them all anyway. So, it's just.
I've been very lucky. I've mostly worked with pretty good directors, but there are 2 I can count that were really the last time I worked, I played Chef Louis in
Little Mermaid
at the Muni, and maybe Chad will bring up that photo. And
yeah, we do.
I worked with a director named Marsha Milgram Dodge, and I've worked with her 4 times, and she's just and she was like, when I came in the first day, she was like, I went to my costume fitting, and she was like, now you have to be fatter. But my legs are so skinny. And she goes, I know, that's why you're funny, because legs are little twigs. And James, who played the lobster, I love him like other, and I felt so terrible that I had to run around the stage for 11,000 people a night. It was the biggest hit the Muni had ever seen.
So if you're 11,000 a night, that would be the Muni in St. Louis, right?
Yeah, you bet. Yeah.
St. Louis,
Yep. Yeah. And they just canceled their season for the whole summer, and it's so tragic because they do 10 shows a summer under the stars, and it's just beautiful, and they get amazing people. I mean, Emily Skinner. I don't know if people out there know Emily Skinner.
Oh yeah,
from
of
Sideshow,
course.
and she played our Ursula. She was our Ursula, and she was just off the charts crazy. Great.
There's a show that should come back, Sideshow. I loved Sideshow.
Well, they did it about 5 years ago, but it wasn't the. I don't want to say anything, but it wasn't the original direction, and the original direction was so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great show.
And I don't know. I've been so fortunate. I've gotten to meet. When I lived in LA, I worked for a man named Kenny Solms, and he was a writer on the Carol Burnett Show. And through Kenny, I got to meet Carol Burnett and Cheetah Rivera, and I think Chad's. There's Carol Burnett and me. I was talking to Carol, and then Kenny all of a sudden had to interrupt me, and now I look like Where's Waldo? Like,
why does Kenny? Who is Kenny? Why does he look so familiar?
Well, was that Cheetah and Stritch? There, the next
coming up. Yeah, I know. I saw Elaine Stritch and Cheetah Rivera.
So
and
Kenny, Kenny was the original. He created the fabulous, famous sketch As the Stomach Turns.
Okay.
On the Carol Burnett Show. Okay. He did the most famous soap opera takeoff ever, and that was a party at Hal Prince's house when Kenny moved to New York, and I was as Charity says in Sweet Charity, I was the only person there I'd never heard of, because there was Carol Burnett, and there was Cheetah Rivera, and there was Elaine Stritch, and there was Compton and Green, there was Stephen Sondheim, there was Joan Rivers. I mean, it was there's Cheetah and Stritch. Stritch was the story about Stritch. I met her twice. She was never very nice to me. She walked into that party with Ziploc bags. She was a diabetic. She barged her way into the dining room with Ziploc bags, the buffet, like a locust. Because dinner was at 6 o'clock. She scooped all of her food for the next 3 days. That's like seltzer water in her cup. She then walked into the living room, hiked up her back flag, and said, "Welcome to New York, Kenny. Good night," and got in the elevator and left. She posed. That was the only photo she posed for the entire Elaine Stritch with the little sailor hat. She just stayed all night, and she's the best.
Yeah,
Just
people would have worshipped her. I know. And two legends right here. I mean, Cheetah and Elaine.
And that's Tony Stevens in the back, who was in the original cast of Chicago and was one of Bob Fosse's assistants, and is also up in heaven with the angels. And that's Carol Burnett's chin over there on the left, between me and Kenny.
Oh, I see it. I see it. Unmistakable.
You can't miss that. And she had it replaced.
Sounds familiar. She was supposed to come to Chicago. She was going to be at the Chicago Theater, and I think that was.
This year, I think, because then it got canceled. Yeah, she had a whole bunch of dates. My new thing is I'm writing a book.
Mm-hmm.
This is to get up to where I am now. I'm writing a book. I've written 2 books. I wrote a book called. Cute. I'm kidding.
What? I'm sorry. What?
I wrote a book called Broadway Musicals that's in its 5th, and it's available on. Oh, here we go. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Jerry Orbach wrote the intro to it, and then the revised version we got Angela Lansbury, Cheetah Rivera, Donna McKechnie, Sandy Duncan, Leslie Uggams, Walter Wright, new forwards. Then I wrote a book. Sitcoms, which didn't do so well, but I got my buddy John Lithgow to write the forward to it, and because he's the nicest man in the whole world. And now I'm working on a book about the career of Bob Mackie, the art of Bob Mackie, and Carol is writing the forward, and a woman named Cher is writing the afterward. And
is she?
Well, let's hope. know what? If she takes off all those feathers and beads, yeah. But she no, and I'm most of the way through, and it's just Bob Mackie is the nicest man in the whole world, and hilarious and funny, and he's designed for everyone in the world. Mitzi Gaynor and Cheryl Ladd and Pink and Elton John and Bette Midler and everyone. So nonchalant about it.
Yeah.
And he's just like, I think I did that. Maybe did I? You know, he's designed.
He's brilliant.
Remember. And
he is brilliant.
He's 81 now and lives in Palm Springs and is just a dear man, but he can't go back to it now because guess what? In Los Angeles, it's closed because of, and I have about 150 that I have to go scan. And so that'll happen in July, I think, but the book's written, and I have a lot of sketches of Toady Fields and Elaine Joyce, but I didn't scan the Carol and Cher sketches because that's 15 drawers each.
Oh, jeez.
So, but
I'm going to say,
basically,
you're like me, Toady Fields, you know, and I'll tell you what, anybody under 55 that's watching this is Googling that right now. and this is the terrible thing, and this is the only thing that I shouldn't say that I am going to say, is Bob said, do you want sketches of Toady Fields with the leg or without the leg? Because she had her leg amputated. So she used to wear little short mini dresses, and then she wore pantsuits after she had her leg amputated. I remember. There's no business like show business. No, the show still limps on. I guess.
It does limp on.
I remember that, but I know when we were talking before tonight, I told you that it's funny that like the people that I worked with and performed with, and you know, especially out at the college with anybody that's, you know, college age or whatever, you get a few old souls, but I'll say, oh yeah, Debbie Reynolds, and it's like, who's that? And you know, Princess Leia's mother, and then we eventually go to the witch in Halloween Town. They're like, oh yeah, she's good, and it's like, she was a legend.
No, the one that I get all the time is Gwen Verdon, who I knew.
Oh,
and maybe
no.
Hugh Chad, Gwen, and she's a redhead, Chad.
Oh. Yeah, he knows.
So anyway,
he's up on
there I am with Gwen, and she's the most fabulous lady in the whole world. And I did This Is Your Life, Roy Scheider, with her, and we ended up sitting there for 3 days. And I just asked her everything she'd been asked, and she just kept saying in her voice, in her inimitable voice, how book. And she's like, what book did you write? And I said, it was about Broadway musicals. And she said, well, and she's just like, was the dearest person. And that's me with Gwen. So
I have been crazy. You know, back in the day, Broadway musicals did not run that long. I mean, yeah, they ran for, you know, many performances, but like when Gwen was doing Damn Yankees and stuff. But then when they would go on the road, a lot of times the stars would go with them. So I saw Gwen in Chicago. Chicago. I did see Chicago. I saw Gwen and Cheetah in Chicago.
Yeah. In Chicago, and Cheetah, they both did it.
Yeah.
But you know, the weird thing is, the original Chicago production of Chicago only ran 2 years on Broadway, and the revival has worked 20 years with Christy Brinkley and Melanie Griffith and like
Brooke Shields.
And what's her name? Nene Leakes from Real Housewives. I mean, seriously, what's that about?
Yeah, that's become kind of a.
That's become a factory. That's not a show. That's a
It's a show with stunt casting, I call it. It's always stunt casting.
And you know what? After all of this is over with the COVID, I guarantee that show will come back. I think there are many shows that are going to not come back, which is so sad. But Chicago will be back because they will get someone wearing a mask to sing all that jazz.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Also, Chicago is not it's not the most elaborate musical on Broadway. They rely on basically one set.
The original production had costumes. They're all in Victoria's Secret.
I know.
They're wearing lingerie. They're wearing underwear.
I know. I kind of prefer the original version. Because they didn't bring on huge sets. The orchestra was on stage, but then these just pieces would roll out and they would like step into the costumes and stuff. I mean, it was all kinds of brilliant. And, you know, I get it that they needed
in the original production, which I didn't see, they been a drum that turned around during he was such a genius. Bossy, never met him.
Yeah. But you know what? As far as stage to movie musicals went, I was kind of dreading that one. And it
was real. Well, just get ready because I'm going to post these screen tests soon on Instagram. Follow me on Instagram because I have Toni Collette and Marissa Tomei and who else? Who was on Married with Children? Christina Applegate. I have all of their screen tests for Roxy, and I'm going to post them on Instagram. So just get ready because you know what? Toni Collette would have been the most brilliant Roxy ever. Not that Renee Zellweger was not brilliant, but Collette can really sing and really dance.
But you could, I felt that Rob Marshall took a really good, fun show and he kept it a really good, fun show. I enjoy the movie Chicago.
Well, he edited it like a music video, which is smart.
Yep.
People's attention spans are not that long anymore, so if you do, I have lots of thoughts about that movie. I loved it, and I thought Catherine Zeta-Jones deserved that Oscar. She was absolutely brilliant. Richard Gere, even though that was not him tapping, because my friend Michael Arnold did all those taps.
Do you know I saw Catherine Zeta-Jones
and Michael Arnold tapping?
She did Peggy Sawyer in 42nd Street when she was
London.
When she was a baby, but she came over and they did a production. Yes. And I actually saw her and Jerry Orbach and I can't remember who. Tammy Grimes. Grimes was the Broadway star.
Yeah. No, I mean, Catherine is, she's the real deal. She doesn't want to. Here's the thing. Until Jerry Herman's dying day, he wanted Catherine Zeta-Jones this is going full circle. Maybe this is when we wrap it up. He said, if we do a Broadway revival of Mame, I want Catherine Zeta-Jones to play Mame.
Perfect.
She would be absolutely brilliant because she can sing and she can dance and she can act and she can be funny and glamorous and she looks great in costumes. She doesn't want to work that hard. She doesn't want to work that hard.
Well, yeah, but that's like
Angela Lansbury at 95 still wants to work that hard.
I know. Isn't that crazy?
She does. But Catherine doesn't want to work that hard. I mean, it's hard to do that role and have 7 songs and 4 dance numbers in a show.
I know.
It ain't easy.
Hey, speaking of Jerry Herman, I had the extreme pleasure of working with him in a review he worked up called Tune the Grand Up out in California. What a sweet guy.
Nicest man in the world. The nicest man. Just a sweetheart.
And it wasn't intimidating at all to be one of 5 people singing his music while he sat
No, he wouldn't hurt a fly. He was truly a gentle giant. He was just like, he would sit there and clap, and it's a loss. I mean, we just lost him this year. Not
this
even
last
90s.
year.
Yeah.
I know. He was brilliant. In fact, when you talk about the classics, I mean, of course, I love Dolly. I love Mame.
I know where you're going to go.
Mac and Mabel.
I said to you when we were doing that show in Spring Valley, I said, why doesn't 212 do Mac and Mabel? And you said, nobody knows who it is. They don't know who it is. And it's the best score he ever wrote.
It is. And when I had my dinner.
You would be a brilliant Mac Sennett.
Oh, you make me blush. I was Mac Sennett twice because at my dinner theater, I said, let's take a chance on something. You know, we're doing fine. And we had to promote it, that it was the days of the silent movies and when the movies learned to talk and stuff like this. And the November, what do you call it, May, December romance between Mabel Normand. And, you know, it was like this whole educational thing. Mabel Normand was
who dies a heroin addict. I mean, that's not Hello Dolly.
No.
Or Mame.
And I think that's why that show did not do well on Broadway. The audience did not get a happy ending.
Not a happy ending.
Yeah.
Even though the last song is, I promise you a happy ending. Doesn't work.
Now,
we've got our musical history, and we've got what?
I was going to say, we used they tried to rewrite it so many times so that it would have some sort of, you know, leaving the audience feeling elated. And what
they did a fake wedding, I think, at one point.
Yeah, with the Keystone Cops and stuff. Here's how Max Sennett, you know, oh God, who remembers? But he said, I'm sorry, but if this was a Max Sennett movie, let me show you how I would have ended it, something like that.
Yeah.
And it goes into this big wedding scene with the Keystone Cops and pies in the face. And you know what? Before we go any further, we got a ton of comments coming in, Frank. So let's just see.
We do?
Someone
commented?
I've fallen behind.
Ye gods.
I've fallen behind. All right. Alice Scott, well, she's laughing. Excuse me. Deb Torrey, our friend, Deb Torrey, she said, hi, Frankie. Bernie and Debbie Torrey are here. Hi, Don.
It's just Bernie's birthday.
That's right.
Bernie had a birthday 2 days ago, I think.
That's right.
It was Bernie's birthday. Happy birthday, Bernie.
Yeah. We should all sing, but it's just.
No. I don't sing.
No. Yeah, me neither. Let's see. Mary Helen DiBaggio. Do you know Mary Helen?
Wait, I have to tell this story. Okay. She was the first person that ever cast me in a play in 4th grade. Really? She cast me as, I have Melons, as they call her. I don't know why they call her Melons, but Mary Helen DiBaggio as in The Emperor's New Clothes in 4th grade. And we went out to IVCC, which is also very important, a thing for IVCC. Okay. And it was on videotape. I would love to see that videotape of me at 9 years old walking around in my long cape and a crown. And and people laughed. One kid's mother laughs. And I would say, Mary Helen, you were the one. My mother always blamed you because I got and I love her. I love her so much.
Yeah. Well, she said to tell you hello. Let's see.
And
go ahead.
And she never lets me forget that she gave me my start. Really, truly my start.
Mary Helen, if you have, well, let's see, what would be the closest thing to video back then? Fire? But if you have a video.
No, it was like, it was black and white, 3/4 inch videotape in the AV lounge or AV studio at, this has got to be 1973. They videotaped it, definitely. I'm sure they taped over it, but we watched it.
Mary Helen, you need to check into that because we need an archival copy. Ron McCutcheon, just talking
Oh,
about
I
him.
know my Ron McCutcheon.
Yeah, he's watching. He said, "Oh my God, did you direct Mame, Don? That was my second pit at 212, second trombone."
Yes, that's right. He was the trombone player. And then I did Boyfriend with him 3 years later. And now he's like a big deal at what's the festival in Princeton?
Festival
that they
56.
didn't have here. Yes, he's a sweet, sweet man.
He helps out with that a lot. I know his summers are busy.
He's a brilliant costume designer. Brilliant.
So I heard. I have not seen that, but and we were so lucky to get him for Mamma Mia. Just so through. We actually.
He's super talented guy.
Yeah, we just lucked out because it was a time period that he could do. You know.
Yeah.
All right. Alice Scott said you were both so wonderful in that show. I'm thinking she must have meant Music Man because I was not in Mame, but I directed it. Okay. And she said when
no, you were sitting there with the riding crop saying faster.
That wasn't me.
Louder, faster, funnier.
I had a taser, I'm sure. And Alice said, going back to our conversation about performing at the Kaskaskia, she said, when the Stage 212, excuse me, did Vanities in the room at the Kaskaskia upstairs, we called it the Lovely Roach Room. Coming to you live from the Lovely Roach Room.
Well, I hear there were roaches upstairs. We never saw them downstairs, though. I don't remember.
Alice has told me a story about Vanities where she never left.
Can I tell you my favorite? I have to interrupt for 1 second. My favorite story about Mame is that Cindy Myers was working in taking classes in Bloomington and then working all day. And then she would drive up to play Mother Burnside and the beautician or something in Mame. And she would get there sometimes right before curtain. And she would put these old line, like with black eyeliner on to do age lines. And one night she walked out on stage and everyone started laughing. And she had taken a red pencil instead and drawn all these lines all over her forehead, bright red. And she was so exhausted. She probably was getting 3 hours of sleep a night. It's my favorite story. She truly is one of the greatest kick in the pants I've ever met in my life.
Cindy Lou and I've kind of lost touch with her. I run into her every so often. I would love to reconnect. She's just delightful.
Pick up the phone. She's around.
I will. I was telling you about Alice. So they were doing Vanities upstairs, a 3-woman show.
Vanities.
And it goes from, it's a wonderful show. And it went from, high school to college years to a reunion 10 years later with these 3 women. And in between, they went to their vanities, hence the title, I guess, and changed their makeup and their clothes and stuff. And one night she was sitting at her vanity and a cockroach went crawling right across her mirror. So she calmly, in front of the audience, because this was all done in front of the audience, so she calmly took her shoe and went whack and just went right on. So.
And there's actually a very good musical version of Vanities. You should look it up and direct it. Yeah, it's really good.
It'd
be a good show for you to direct. What?
It didn't do well though, did it?
Well, they did it off Broadway and it just wasn't the right time. It wasn't the right timing, but I think it wasn't the right timing for New York.
Okay. Right.
But I think it would do so well other places.
It's a spectacular script as
brilliant
play,
Yeah.
And did you ever see the HBO version of that they did 100 years ago? It was Cheryl Glad, maybe, and Meredith Baxter Burney, and
yes.
Oh, I can't remember. It was a brilliant production. They were hysterical. All
right.
All
I know is. Oh dear.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, go ahead. You go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say.
Someone's written in.
Oh, there's a lot here. Let me get. Okay, Debbie Torrey says, just for your information, I have my same nose as well. Marion the librarian will always love you.
Oh, so sweet.
Well, you kept yours, Debbie. We changed ours. I was too German.
Oh,
So
she looks incredible. She must be almost 50.
she, something like that. I think something like that. And she said,
Yeah.
thanks, Frankie, the Myers, and Joe Allen are always some of our favorite memories of New York. Bernie
We go to
says,
Joe Allen. It's our place. We closed the joint.
and Bernie says, what a hoot. Ron McCutcheon, when I couldn't remember his character name in Mamma Mia, said, I was Bill. Thanks.
He was Bill.
Yeah.
The Australian.
Bill. Yep. And I was Sam, and Mark was Harry.
Harry the homo.
Yeah, Harry the homo. Yeah. That's right. And he's watching. Hi, Mark. All righty. Let's see.
Mark Nowakowski is?
Yeah, he's watching.
Oh, hi, Marky.
Oh, well, you may want to address. Well, before we go back to that, here, let's see. Sarah Shady. How do I say her last name?
Santangelo. It's Sarah Shady.
Santangelo.
That's Sarah Shady.
She said, amazing show, saw it about 10 times. Not sure which one she's talking about.
What?
Well, I'm not sure. The comments come in. We're on delay on Facebook, so this all
has to be Music Man. I mean,
she was in Music Man. She had to see it 10 times.
oh no. Maybe she's talking about Frog and Toad because she lives in Minneapolis. She saw it there.
Okay. All righty. Megan, do you know Megan Zombrak Cullinan?
Oh yeah. She's my friend.
Amazing
we hang
voice.
Yeah.
Okay. She commented Bronson Pinchot, so I'm not quite sure what we were talking about at that point. Maybe I was trying to identify somebody. Let's see. Deb Torrey, you're a fabulous musical comedic actor. Love you to the moon and back. You're getting lots of love. LP Fagan, the most spectacular character, and Sarah Shady and Oliver. When was that?
Oliver, yeah. We did Oliver my junior year of high school. I don't have a photo of that. I do actually someplace, but I didn't send it. Yeah, that was.
Sarah's saying all kinds of nice things here. Thanks, Sarah, for the compliment. I try hard.
She's my BFF. You know what? When you've been friends with someone for 41, best friend for 41 years.
Yeah.
And I'm aging us. I mean, seriously, we've been best friends for 41 years. I love her so much. That's all I can say.
Know. You know what? Alice and I are like that. Alice Scott. We go back to 1973 is when we met.
Right.
Or 72, I'm sorry. And so we stopped saying, this is my oldest friend. We say our longest running friend. So you may want to that. Okay. Lisa Capelli Ross said, IVCC audio department archives. We need to dig them up. Yes, we do. Mary Helen said, sorry, she doesn't have the tape. Oops.
No, of course she doesn't.
Gone to the ages. Let's see, Frog and Toad. Sarah was talking about Frog and Toad. That's the one that she saw 10 times. See, if you're watching this, we're like about half a minute ahead of you. It's delayed onto Facebook, in case my language gets bad. All right.
She saw Frog and Toad so many times.
All right, going back to a comment here from Ron McCutcheon. Let me get to this.
I love him.
All right. Yes. All right. He said, and Frank was in New York Times Magazine wearing interesting things. Would you care to explain that?
I was going to send you that photo. When I was in A Year with Frog and Toad, they did a photo spread of. They did a photo spread about people's finances. And each one of us, the 5 characters, did a photo. I did a photo shoot, and I was debt. And so I was wearing a body with a target on my, can I say ass?
Yeah, you can say anything here. Yeah.
And this huge arrow towards my butt, and it was Danielle Furland was a piggy bank, and like they did this whole thing where her stomach had broken, and it was this very high concept thing. But my thing was I was running away from the green arrow with an arrow pointing to my butt. Yeah.
To your butt. I think we all might do
Ron
that.
must remember that. Yeah, I didn't send that. Yeah. Because my butt's way lower than that now at 55.
Well, you're
and
55.
My debt's way bigger.
I hope when I'm 55.
It ain't easy.
Let's see. Sarah Shady is saying, Frank, the Dome or Howard Johnson's? I think you told me she was going to ask me this.
Yes.
So to clear this up, folks.
Well, the Dome is no.
12, yeah, let me explain it though. Before Stage 12 had their permanent building, they were nomads, which we've mentioned a couple weeks ago, and South Bluff Country Club and the Dome Ballroom and the Kaskaskia downstairs and upstairs, and the Howard Johnson's, which has been torn down. Up on May Road there.
What's there? What is there now at the Howard Johnson's? It's the motel?
No, it's flat. It's nothing. It was torn down last year. Yeah.
They're good class.
So, I know. So so Sarah wants to know, inquiring minds want to know, I guess, what was your favorite place to perform?
I have to say my favorite place was downstairs at the Kaskaskia, because it was a real stage and had a high ceiling. The Howard Johnson's was okay, but we were up on we would hit our heads.
Yeah.
The Dome Ballroom was fine, but you took your life.
Yeah.
That staircase.
Yeah, I know.
And
I remember.
I think it's still there, isn't it? No, that's where we did something to foot there.
The building, we did, yeah.
That is a fire trap.
I want to say that was the only thing I did at the Dome. I think I was gone after that. I have no other memories than
boyfriend and something's afoot. Yeah. It is.
It was above a bar called the Wheel of Fortune.
Wheel of Fortune, that's right.
Yeah.
And then next to the ball.
Right. And it's all.
And I think it's still barely standing.
Oh, the building is there. Yeah.
It's not there?
No, the building is there. Yeah. And
it was right next to the high rise for the old folks.
Yes. Watch it when you say old folks. I am an old folks.
Oh, so am I. It was like the Peru high rise. It was
the high rise. Yeah.
It was the high rise.
The penthouses. Bob Johns, who I don't think you would know Bob. He's a member of our.
Bob Johns, a photographer?
No. Bob Johns, his daughter Ella does shows for us, and he helps us out a lot backstage. And he wants to know, what was it like working on Briscoe County Junior?
Briscoe County Junior? Yeah. Oh, it was fantastic, because I got to work with John Aston from the Addams Family, and he was Gomez Addams. Yeah. He was the greatest guy, and he's still alive, and he's about 127. And
before you go on, I have to. I misspoke. It says no. This is Bob Johns, the photographer. So yes. Yeah.
He took my first headshot.
Really?
Maybe that was Bruce. Was that Bob or Bruce? They were brothers, right?
I'm not familiar. Bob, you're watching. Let us know. Was it Bob or Bruce?
Bob and Bruce, I think, were brothers, right? And one had a photo studio in Peru across the street from my dad's store.
Okay. He says, well, son of. Bruce was my dad. Okay, so Bob says Bruce was my dad. Okay.
Oh, okay. So I know you. His dad had a big monkey that was on an elastic cord that he would throw at you and then bring back so you would laugh. when you had your photos taken. Yeah, I remember that like it was yesterday.
That's brilliant.
Next to Holmes Motors, next to the barbershop. Oh God, that's 4th Street in Peru. That's my childhood.
Yeah, that you were a regular there. And Bob said, LOL, yes, he did throw the monkey. So
Yes.
I think it is very possible. I'm not sure. It's I don't remember who took my very first headshot. The black velvet bow tie and the red ruffle shirt and the 70s long hair, and I think I looked very serious and stuff. And
okay,
of course,
now this is totally, no one else is going to be interested in this, but I remember you telling me once when you went on the road with your band.
I did tour for a while with music, yeah.
Yeah, and you said that your favorite place to go wherever you posed, you would go to Long John Silver's, and you would all get at like 2 in the morning. They would serve the batter and like give you like a box full of the crumbs, which is my favorite thing in the whole world. Is just fried batter.
I didn't realize that it. Well, I'm going to say it's true because I still I try to eat mostly sensibly as I can, but oh my, hell yes, I still, on the rare times I go to, I'm like, can you throw a whole bunch, and you can get an order of them now. And David's like, oh, how can you eat that? And I'm like, oh, you put it on the coleslaw.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. You're guilty. I can't believe you remember that.
I don't forget anything.
You don't.
It's like it's a blessing and a curse.
It really is. That's crazy. Oh my gosh. All right. So tell me, I'm having such a good time. I'm forgetting to even think of an outline here. But let me see if there's any more comments so we can go on. Oh, going back to the Dome Ballroom. Oh, gross, Ron. Ron McCutcheon said, I lost a toenail on the back stairs at the Dome during Cinderella.
Probably, I mean, well, not in the back stairwell or on the fire escape, because that fire escape was rickety. There was one staircase that went down. I don't want to know about Ron's toenail.
No, it sounds painful and gross, doesn't it? Yeah, I know. Oh, and Megan checked in. She said, we used to ask for the Krispies from Sip and Sack in Mendota when she was a kid. So I'm thinking must be, Long John Silver's type stuff. And Mark Nowakowski saying, hey, Frank, love you, brother.
Oh.
You have lots of friends.
I've known him my whole life, literally. Mark. Oh.
Well, you know what, Mark, I had never worked with. I knew the name, and he
brilliantly talented musician.
Oh, I know that too.
Can do anything.
And when he came to do Mamma Mia, sorry,
EMT at one point.
Used to be what?
An EMT.
Oh,
I think.
I did not know that.
I think so.
Well, Mark also came back after Mamma Mia for our holiday show, which was Elf, the musical, and he played Santa.
Oh. He is Santa.
Yeah, he was a great Santa.
I have a story to tell. Can I tell a story about Mark Nowakowski?
You can tell. You can say anything here.
When we were both in 7th grade, we did Little Abner. And it was the first time I've ever seen anyone ad-lib, because we had an actor who missed an entrance. And Mark was playing the senator, and the kid didn't come on. I'm not going to say his name, but he didn't come on. And so Mark ad-libbed for about 3 minutes, and it was the most brilliant thing I've ever seen in my life. I learned so much much from him, just watching him, like, I don't think he knew how to do a time step, but if he did, he would have done that. He was just so
I can vouch he
smart.
still does
He was
not.
so smart. I'll never forget it.
Yeah, he's a great guy. He said, I don't know what this is, but he said University of Iowa helicopter.
Mark said
that. Okay, Mark, you're gonna have to explain that one. And
I think he meant EMT.
Oh, thank you, Chad.
Well, he was. Okay. So he was a helicopter EMT for University of Iowa. Okay.
Right.
But
okay.
Now I think, yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Well, he's just commenting away there. So
well,
he said
I miss him.
He was the best Marion Sam, meaning you? Were you Marion Sam or?
I was Marion Sam, and he was I can't remember the character's name. Senator? No, not General Bull Moose.
Oh, General Bull Moose. Okay.
He was General Bull Moose.
Okay. You know, of all the classic shows I've done,
you've never done
over
that.
The years, I have never done Little Abner.
I did that, and that's, I want to give a shout out also to people from the Illinois Valley. Besides Mary Helen Badagio, Willa Dollinger, my 5th grade teacher, she cast me in a show as Paul Revere's horse, and then I went to Washington Junior High, and we had Jack Felichak, who was complicated and amazing. He taught me the history of Broadway musicals, because we would listen to the cast albums, and he was just amazing. And I know I think he was working out at the golf course. I don't know. And then Bob Manahan, who is a legend.
He is
still living at.
He is still here. He's still with us.
At St. Margaret's?
Yeah, I think so.
At the hospital?
There's apartments or something up there. Yeah.
I mean, he was like the George Abbott of the Illinois Valley, because he would say, "No, say it faster.
Yeah.
You'll get a laugh." He knew it. He just knew.
And I was never directed by him, because I grew up in Putnam County, but I would come to the LP shows. And what you're saying, though, about this area is they do value the arts, and that is so important.
They do. And there are so many talented people. Right. Oh, my Lord.
Now, see, when I was in junior high, there was no junior high musical back then, programs and concerts and stuff. But now there are the junior highs that do musicals, and Natalie Verucki, who played my wife in Elf, she's done Xanadu, and she was doing Peter Pan this year, but so, like everybody else, we're not. LP has kept their tradition of doing really, really good shows. They were in rehearsal for Wizard of Oz.
You did at Hall with Betty. You did a Peter Pan at Hall with Betty Ann Holloway and Deb Torrey as Wendy.
I did.
Yeah, and they flew.
Yes. Of course we flew. How can you do Peter Pan without flying? Well, and you know what? Not that I had time with it, but when I was in Peoria with the dinner theater, Caterpillar Chorus, excuse me, where Caterpillar drives Peoria,
sure,
and they would produce their own musical every year, and they wanted to do Peter Pan, and they said, "Oh, can we, would you please direct this?" And the money was great, and I said, "Sure."
Yeah, it's corporate
and so
money.
I went in, and it was and it had to be Caterpillar employees or their immediate family, nobody else. And of course, it's such a huge company, and a couple of the people had actually already worked with me at the dinner theater.
Sure.
But anyway, they brought in Foy to fly, and
flying by Foy.
So it's more like I'm swinging instead of I'm flying. I'm like, here we are in the Peoria Civic Center, and they were uber careful. But if you remember back in Spring Valley, and I do remember this, things were different. we constructed the, when I say we, it sounds like I know how to build something, but whoever was on crew built all that grid work above the stage, and they figured out the flying on their own. So we had.
Might have been Glenn Gerard. Glenn Gerard is a master.
He is. I mean, it very well could have been. Megan commented again. She said, "Go ahead."
No, go ahead. No, you go ahead.
No, you go ahead. No, you go ahead. Megan said, "Mr. Feliziak was my very first musical director at Washington when we did Your Good Man, Charlie Brown. Great memories of that school, especially being in class with your mom. Must be your mom.
Oh, my mom.
Learned so much about art and sewing and cooking from her," meaning mom.
Yeah, she was a home ec and art teacher and she loved Jack
Felicia.
Smoke in the teacher's lounge and blow smoke in her face. And they all died of cancer. No, I'm kidding. Seriously.
Yeah. And Chris Coughlin, do you know Chris? Chris Coughlin, she's the CEO of North Central Illinois Artworks. Anyway, going back to Peter Pan at Hall, she said, and somebody flew into a wall, right? I'm sure they did. I'm sure they did.
I remember when I saw it, Betty Ann was like, at one point, was skidding sort of across the stage floor. Like, I couldn't get the.
Yeah.
Betty Ann is not a heavy person, but she's a tall drink of water.
I know. Betty Ann Holloway, I ran into her a while back. I really want to connect with her. That woman's voice, her presence,
one of the most talented people.
I know.
I remember when you did the show at Hall and she and Sarah Shady sang all that jazz. It was truly one of the most. It was like the best. Yeah. The best.
And you rarely look at somebody and go, "Oh, they should go work professionally." Betty Ann, I was like, she's got it. She's really such a triple threat. Oh, and Deb Torrey chimed in. She said, "Peter Pan, one of my favorite shows of all time. Dan Martinkus played Captain Hook."
Oh.
And
that's Betty right. Ann, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
He was fantastic.
Yep. And Betty Ann played Peter Pan, of course. Yeah. And Cindy Lou played, I want to say, Tiger Lily.
Who did?
Cindy Lou.
She did.
She did. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Martinkus, a fabulous costume designer and a great director.
Yeah, he was.
Still in Princeton?
I know. He's still in Princeton with Margaret. Yes, I see their posts.
His kids must be 40.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oy.
I know. Goes back so far. God, we could talk all night. So
I know. But
will you come back? I tell you what, will you come back on this?
Of course I will. Great. But I have something else to say.
Oh, you got plenty to say. I mean, we've scratched the surface with the stuff you've done.
Can I just say something to Chad, that you have been like amazing about dropping those photos in? Like whenever I bring someone up, you drop the photo in. It's just amazing.
And I'm so glad
you need to be working on network television or something.
I'm so glad you mentioned Chad, because I usually introduce him at the beginning of the show.
Oh no, he's fantastic.
Yeah, I always say, you gotta have somebody in the booth when you do a
oh my God, yeah.
And he's great. I
know.
Well,
thank you so much, DGZ.
Yeah, DGZ.
You're the best.
I go by that. Debbie said that. John Grigalunas was Smee.
Oh.
Okay, yeah, that sounds familiar. And
John
Debbie Torrey.
He's a 212er.
He what?
He's a major 212er.
He was. I
mean, it's all.
Yeah, and I don't think they've been involved for a while, but he was. Yeah, all the time.
And Rhonda and his wife Rhonda. Yeah, they're very talented.
And I believe Rhonda does the musicals at LP now.
Wasn't Grigalunas in Something's Afoot with us? I think.
I'm going to say okay. You have such a better memory than me.
I was a junior in high school and my father was dying. That's all I remember.
Oh, yeah, that's always rough.
No, but I think he had the mustache. He played opposite Luann.
Okay, all right. And Deb Troy said that Roger Perkins did the set for Peter Pan. You remember Roger? Very talented artist.
I love Roger. I just saw him at the 50th anniversary of 212, and his wife,
Becky.
Mary.
No, Becky. Roger and Becky. Yep, Roger and Becky.
Roger and Becky.
Yeah.
And but no, I mean, when you talk, I mean, and Roger is fantastic.
Great guy.
When you talk about scenic talent, that set to Something's Afoot.
Oh.
Was literally Broadway quality.
Made out of cardboard.
Yeah. And I think he's used it over and over and over again. I think he's directed a couple productions.
If memory serves, he directed it down in River Valley Players, which is in Henry.
Yeah.
Within the last 5 years, I want to say at least. And yeah, I know, I heard the set was incredible and all that other stuff. So,
well, speaking of Mamma Mia, it truly is another show that is so much fun. Something's Afoot. It's so much fun to be in, and the audiences love it.
Now you're Actors Equity and all that jazz, but I think there's a clause in there where you can come do something for education. I'm going to plant a bug in your ear that you come to IVCC and do a show with us sometime. You know, when you got free time.
All I have to, I can go on honorary withdrawal for a month.
There you go. Then we'd sell well, we're selling.
Oh, tickets. Please.
Yeah. Are you seeing all the love that's pouring in? Well, you're not.
I know. I can't see anything.
The love is pouring in.
You know who still sings like a house afire is get Sarah Shady to come down and we'll do. What's a two-hander? Not I do. That's sorry, you were in it.
I've been in. That's another one. I've done. I do 5 times.
You did.
Yeah. I love
over and over again.
That's probably one of my favorite parts. Yeah.
It's a great role, but it is for the audience, I think.
Oh, okay. You're gonna know this person, Debbie Gravetti.
Oh, I love Debbie Gravetti
Buffington, yes. And she said, more and more, please come back. And
Nina, tell her I'll see her at the 101.
She'll see at the 101. Nina Porter Corretto said, please come back.
Oh, one of my best friends from high school.
Okay.
Whole bunch. Well, you know what? I can barely forgive Nina because her husband Chuck ran Garzanelli's, and when they closed, we almost had a divorce.
Oh, Nina, I'm sorry to hear that.
Chuck now sells Rabs. I think still sells Rabs all over Central Illinois, but I want my chicken and Rabs.
Well, yeah. You know what I find fascinating, Frank? You seem to know. I've been back in the area for 15 years after having been gone for decades.
A long time.
And you're now in New York, and I've been here for 15 years, and you've got your finger on the pulse of what's going on here much better than what I do.
You know why? I'm just a Gemini. I keep in touch with everyone. Just I can't help it. I honor my past. And I pray for the future. That's all I can do.
Good way to put it. And well, before we go though, everybody's asking you to please come do a show for us. So we'll have to do.
Oh, I'd love to. I would love
Frankapalooza.
Frankapalooza. I gotta get. Okay. I got to get this Mackey book done. It was supposed to be turned in June 1st, and now that Mr. Mackey's office has been closed down due to the coronavirus, I can't get back to LA until July. So now we're thinking September 1st, the book will be turned in, and then I can have a
Do
little
something.
free time.
That would be fun.
Yeah,
You
no.
want- How about you and I do Lacage?
What? What show?
Lacage.
Oh my God. Who do you want to be?
Not the one in the dress.
Oh, I'll be the one in the dress. I'll be
Okay,
Alban.
I thought so. All right, Alban. Yeah.
I've always wanted to play that role. It's a lot of makeup, but
Yeah. Another great Jerry Herman score. Just
Oh, yeah.
one of the best. One of the best. That song, "The Best of Times," I think is probably
and Sarah
one
Shady
of the
will
best.
play Jacqueline.
There we go. We're set. Not that auditions aren't open to everybody, but you know.
I know, of course.
All right,
cool.
Frank.
Thank you so much. Thank you to
It has
everyone who
been.
called in. Good-
Yes, thank you so much
Good
for watching.
Lord,
I know, isn't it something? You'll be able to watch
it
this
is
again.
something.
I know. Well,
I'm
you know what?
sitting here- at least I'm wearing pants. I mean, seriously, I did this with Frank Smell of Success, and there were 6 of us, and I said, all right, raise your hand if you're wearing pants. And only 3 of us did. And the other one, you know,
It's
It's a
it's
whole-
COVID rules.
the world.
I
It
know.
is.
I know. And Zoom, I mean, thank God for Zoom, but
I only knew Zoom from the TV show when I was a kid.
Zoom.
Remember? Come on and Zoom. Yeah, that's all I remember.
That I remember. I would.
Now I have
I
to
was-
go to the bathroom because I am 55 and my bladder is like the size of a grape.
And belated happy birthday. It wasn't that long ago.
May 30th. Yeah.
May 30th.
hit
Yeah.
the double nickel. 55.
Yeah. I hit a landmark this year too. I'm not happy about it.
I
but
know.
Oh, well.
I think I know.
What you gonna do? Oh,
So you
Kim.
can really you can get such a great meal at Denny's now.
Yeah, at 4:00. Kim Polaric Hank says,
Oh!
"Hey Frank."
Oh well, Kim, you know Kim Polaric.
Oh, are
Hank's
you kidding? Of course I do.
daughter is like,
She does all kinds of stuff. She was Sophie for us.
she's amazing. And Randy is like my buddy from grade school. And their daughter, what's her name?
Emily.
Emily. Oh
Yeah.
my God, what a talent!
Emily
That's what-
did at the college. She's done Kira in Xanadu, a show I
Yeah.
really like.
Yeah.
She did Gypsy in Gypsy. She came back and did Sophie in
Played Louise. I mean, she played Louise in Gypsy.
Louise. Yeah,
She
Louise.
is perfect, Louise.
I know.
'Cause
And
she's gorgeous.
of course, still is. And she came back and did Sophie in Mamma Mia last year.
Oh,
And she was Elle Woods in Legally Blonde that we're not doing this year.
now she's
but-
married, right?
Yes. Pytel is her married name. Yeah.
Best of us, except not
Well,
me.
And one of the great people too.
Anyway, love you, Kim Polaric. Love you, Randy. Hope
Hey.
Randy's feeling well. Randy had a little health thing, but he's doing really well, I think now. No,
yes, I think so.
I love Randy.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
And she
And
says so.
Randy Hank is a master fisherman.
Is he?
Randy Hank is oh my God. I can't even show
Actually-
you how big fish are that he catches.
Actually, I think I kind of knew this because in Mamma Mia, for what's her name, Donna's bedroom, we wanted pictures of Sophie in various stages of growing up, and so Emily brought in all these
Sure.
really fun. And there's one of her and Dad fishing and
Her with a huge fish, of course, that Randy caught.
Yes, exactly. And
Known
Kim
him
says,
my entire life.
well, Randy says hello too. So
Oh,
we got
awesome.
lots of folks watching.
Thank you all.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Don, so much. This made
We
my
will continue
month.
this.
Absolutely.
I don't think I have a guest yet for next Sunday. If free, we can talk about it later, but we'll see if
Oh, Gewalt.
what's going
I
on.
have to think of new things to talk about.
Yeah. Oh, you've
Talk
got,
to Sarah. She knows
you've got
all.
plenty.
Ask Sarah about working on a cruise ship or
Oh, I love
Disneyland.
Well, I tell you what, I can get you and Sarah on here. We can have several guests. So that's.
Oh, that would be
that's
nothing but trouble. She was
I
a young,
hope so.
she was a young American with, not with Jim West, but Jim West, all of those people from the Illinois Valley, Jill Stewart, she was one of the young Americans.
And you know what? The memory blocks sometimes, chip a little bit. And I remember something. Sarah, you're watching, so you can answer this. You can private message me if you want. But I seem to remember a story of the Young Americans. Was it Up with People or Young Americans? It was Young Americans, right?
No, not Up with People. Up with People is Young Americans is not.
Okay. Up with People was
Young Americans is just great.
Right. Okay, but weren't they in California and swept out to sea where you had to be rescued? Does that sound familiar? Sarah, I could swear I heard that. Unless
a ritual or something?
No. It was like everybody was frolicking on the beach and
maybe
two Illinois.
Sarah will know about that. I don't know about that.
That's what I mean. It could be urban legend.
They worked at a dinner theater in. No, she worked with a bunch of famous people, including her. I mean, she did cruise ships and you got to get her to sing.
She said, what? No, that didn't. She said, no, that didn't happen. She's laughing. Sorry, Sarah. I could.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
If somebody knows what story I'm talking about, all right, forget. Well, listen, you check.
She did her Judy Garland show on. She did her Judy Garland show on a cruise ship. Truly, okay. All right, I'll join too. Okay. It'll be salty because we Sarah and I. Boy.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, folks, if I know you've all enjoyed this and you've got a lot more, so if you got questions for me to throw at Frank, put them in the comments or something here on the page or email me, and we'll just get into it good the next time that the two of us get together, and possibly three.
And Sarah also, thank you. You're the first director that ever actually hired me, and I thank you for that.
Well, my pleasure. My pleasure. Obviously, you've done better than I have.
Oh, please. Oh, God. Dear Lord. All right.
All right. Thank you so much, Frank.
I miss you all. See you at Verucchi's, everyone.
Yes, go to Verucchi's and shop at Vlastnik's.
Yes. Yeah.
Say hi to Uncle Bill. All right.
Bill.
Thank you so
Uncle
much.
Bill.
Uncle Bill. All right.
Absolutely. Take care.
Everyone, thank you so much for shopping. Thank you so much, Frank. You were a pleasure to have on. And don't forget, tell folks what we do here every single Sunday night to keep the show going on while the show can't go on, right? So we'll see you next time.
That's right.
Again, thanks to Frank.